This is Colin Dijs, and in this video you'll see a live masterclass recording. For the entire month of December, every day I will give you a specific part of the masterclasses. I will prepare a playlist to the site, so no matter when you're watching this, you can click on the playlist, go to the next video, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, until the masterclass is completed, and then there will be a next one available. If you want to attend these masterclasses live with me, ask your questions all about native ads, check the link in the description below for very affordable group coaching. I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. Right? If you understand how the CPC bidding works, you can outcompete anybody. The problem is you need to level the bid against the reach. Right? Of course, that's like your continuous struggle. Yet, throughout time, when the platforms change, you will be able to adapt. And that's what we see with this whole Facebook marketer bubble. The Google AdWords guys, they have a lot more assets. If you need to set up a Google campaign, you have a lot of choices, you have a lot of control. And that's why when Google made their major updates going from AdWords to Google Ads, these guys survived. They took big hits, right? Don't get me wrong. The agencies had to adjust, yet they're still there. Where probably 60%, 80% of the affiliates on Facebook are no longer there, because they cannot work with the compliance. They can only work against the compliance. More cloakers, more VPNs, more proxies, and creating more problems, right? So at the end of the day, at some point it will implode and everything will be a fucking nightmare. That's because you know a trick, right? You know, it's like a dog. The dog can jump over and over again. It's great, but can it do anything else? No, unless you teach him something else. And that's basically how we have to learn the native game. Is now all of a sudden, since maybe September last year, you get a huge influx of new buyers, right? People who buy the traffic. The problem here is you buy on performance, where more than half of the advertisers buy for branding on native, yet they drive up the CPC. They don't give a fuck about the CPC. The client tells them, we need this amount of impressions. Just show this new car to as many people as you can. Right? So whether they pay 5 or 10% more, as long as they hit the impressions, they don't care. But if you hit 5 or 10% more ROI on every single campaign, then you care, right? Or at least 10 or 40% ROI. I think I would care on skill. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the understanding that you need to be able to do things like this, right? Understand the audience, see how they behave, and then work it into your campaign is so much more important than you might think right now. Right now, you might think, oh yeah, I could figure that out. Culture, religion, yeah, quite interesting. Who gives a fuck? Let's just make some fucking money, right? That's my approach. But what I realized is whenever I was like burning through campaigns, I was looking back at the data and I was like, man, I made these fucking stupid mistakes. If I just chilled for like a moment, ran through the data a little bit better, how the audience actually responded to my ads, I didn't have to spend so much money to test. I didn't have to lose so much money trying to scale like crazy because there was no scale, right? And then you become, what's it called? Like not as emotionally invested in your campaigns. Then you understand it's a data game and you just have to read the data and the audience at the same time, match that as part of the greater process, and then you win. So it's not as much as how good is my technical flow? How good is my copywriting? Those are all very important on their own, right? Each skill on their own. But the most important thing is you can relate your product the best to your audience. You guys are here on this call today because I'm the best native ads guy in terms of content and how I present it to you to come on this call with me, right? There are a lot of other native guys, yet either the price was not good, the information was not good, the time was not right, and we're here today. Yes?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of data are you looking at then in terms of like trying to match up your audience and with what you're looking at on native?
Yeah, I can give you an example. So we work with a very systematic approach, right? So CPC bid, 25% of suggested bid, 2 headlines, 10 creatives. At some point, your creative capabilities will have to be tested. So we launch the campaign, we run the creatives. At that point, you get indication on the best performing creative, yes? So the rule is we take the 2 controls of the best performing creatives and we make duplicates, we pause the rest. Now, you could do that assignment, take the 2 best performing creatives and make 8 new ones to test against the control. Yet, think at the same time, why do people choose these creatives? You could just say, oh, they just pick them because they like them. But why? Are these too similar? The 8 that I'm going to add, are those just similar in color, or are there other similarities? And that's the difference between reading the data and reading the data, 2 different ways. For example, the last couple of weeks, we went a little bit more in like optimization data. And what I notice is that people tend to spend a lot of time on the profit numbers, which makes sense, right? Because those are very important. Yet there are a lot of other variables that are also important, yet those are skipped because whatever reason, right? So you are spending, let's say $100, $200 a day. Why would you not take 5 or 10 minutes out of that day to wonder, in this example, why are these creatives performing better than these 8? Right? One assignment that you could do to fix this is to place a bet with yourself, which I always do for the last like 3 years, in which creative which will perform best and why. So before you run them, you select the creative you think the audience will perform best. And obviously you need to get better over time. You can never guarantee that you know the audience perfectly because you will get sporadic results. But it's a fun assignment to at least see how well do you know the audience and how well is your flow working at the end of the day, right? Because that's truly what you're testing. But there are layers, right? The first layer is that the flow has to work. Everything tech-wise has to work properly, all the basic shit. And that's usually where people stop. I launch a campaign, I just let it spend money, I'll just check back in 2 days. But you could do a lot of things in the meantime. It depends on how much effort you're willing to put in, right? Because it takes time. But yet, time is all what we truly have. So why not invest that time if you want to get to the result, right? Mr. Roncini learned this the hard way. Invest more time, read the data properly, and you'll quickly get better in your decision making, which ultimately the decision making is exactly the optimization stage. It's all about decisions. Make sense? Perfect. Any other questions before we continue? Yes, Murat.
Is there a way to research the audience behavior pattern? Do we have a method or?
Yes, I think, well, you could obviously go on the website like Statista and pull out data, but data only tells you so much. The best thing is to know a little bit about everything, which is quite difficult. But if you are a marketer, you will continuously pick up signals from everybody that you talk to, right? I read all the holy books, right? Just because it interests me on why people do the things they do, because I don't follow any religion. Yet most of the, we used to have a couple of Muslim guys here in the office. And I just asked them like, why do you pray 7 times a day? Right? What's the benefit of this? Why do you need to fast? Why can you not drink water while you fast? Right? Very direct, as the Dutch people are. And they feed me the answers. And that's basically how you learn. While there are a lot of different cultures here on this call today, the way they answer questions when I ask them tells you something about their culture. Right? I make a lot of jokes. Some people don't laugh at these jokes. It means that it tells them something about their culture. It doesn't mean I'm not funny, because I am funny, right? But it means that some people are just more introvert, or whatever the vibe is that they're feeling. One thing you will, or one thing I noticed, it's not Roman, it was somebody else on like previous calls with the Eastern European guys. They laugh from the inside. Their face is cold. Right? They don't show emotion through like external vibes, yet they have a good time. It doesn't mean they're having a shit time, right? But that's one of the things where Americans can be very abundant in whatever they feel. Like, oh man, I love that jacket you're wearing. And as a Dutch guy, I would say, you want to know where I bought it? Well, no, I just love it on you. Well, then don't be so dramatic. You don't really love it, because else you would want it. We're way more logic-wise. We would pick up that message. And that's, again, the audience behavior pattern. If you would come from like a very orthodox, very calm, respect hierarchy culture, and you come to the Netherlands, You step into the train, somebody will tell you, hey, don't fucking bump into me. Oh, sorry, sir, sorry. Well, don't say sorry, you just bump into me. Oh, but why you said it so aggressive? They will never speak back. And the Dutch people are just like, say whatever they want, right? Which might cause a lot of friction there. Which again, everything I just summed up are these audience behaviors. So if you, for example, would do a direct call to action towards the audience on a landing page as a call out in a Singapore audience, it's not going to work well because these people like to blend in. They like to be calm. They don't like to cause any drama, right? The country is very subtle. So if you're going to say like, hey, are you the biggest, strongest guy in the gym? Then what happens with all the Western European, Eastern European, all the Persian guys, all the American fellas, everybody steps up, where the calm cultures be like, maybe I'll just let somebody else shine and I'll just hold back. And it might be really strong after all. Does it make sense for everybody? Yet it's quite difficult to relate these things. And that's why I'm discussing them in this masterclass, how you can identify those things, because they're continuously happening around you. All these things, you're doing them right now. Yet we might not be aware of them. Hello, Ross. Good to see you, finally. Did you get a nice coffee?
Yes.
Premium service.
How are you, sir?
I am good. I am looking at.
Looking fresh.
Yeah, I got a haircut actually after they stabbed me with what's it called? Evil tiny robots. But I'm happy I'm not a zombie. So
tracking your every movement.
What was that?
Tracking your every movement.
Yeah, it's okay, mate. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm at the same place every single day. I'm just sitting here entertaining you guys. So good. Anyway, more examples of the behavior. Okay. This is something that's very important. Whoa, what happened? What the fuck happened? You guys see the big screen? Yeah, fuck it. I'll just continue.
Yeah, F11.
So, I'm on a MacBook.
Oh, not F11 then.
Something else? No? Okay. The influence circle is very important, right? And we touched upon it briefly before. How does influence the decision making, right? In whatever we do. It's one of the biggest steps that you can make in your campaign in order to get conversion rates up. Not only conversion rates, click-through rates, and basically the ad CTR, right? Every moment, see what the fuck's happening with this thing. At every moment, you always have a choice. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but you control your campaign. All the results that you have are yours. And every time you launch a campaign, you make numerous decisions, as does the audience when they click on your ad, right? There's choices that lead to an inevitable outcome they have already chosen. These choices, they add up, and you can influence these choices, right? Where your part of the influence comes in. Samantha, what does our flow look like today? 3 steps of the flow.
Creative.
Yes.
Landing page and offer page.
Okay. Yeah, to the lander, to the offer, right? Where would you say you have the biggest influence on the conversion rate?
Offer page.